The product card blocks will help you quickly organize your e-commerce product grid. There are several such blocks in the library, but all of them are set up in a similar way. Using the ST300 block as an example, I'll show you the basic features of these blocks and help you figure out the settings. I'll start by adding the ST300 block from the store category. Let's start with the content section. You'll find a reminder at the very beginning. To activate the order function for the page, you have to add the ST100, a shopping cart block from the same store category. In general, items can be added in two ways. The first is directly by using the product cards, as in our example. Here you can add the title, description, upload photos, and specify the product options as you like. This method is convenient as you don't need to go anywhere else. Everything is edited right in the block. It's suitable if you need a quick launch or when you don't have that many goods, no more than 15 to 20 items. If you have a lot of goods or you need additional features, there is a second way of working with items by using the product catalog. This is a separate interface with many features where you can work with the groups of products, adjust filters, and have all the changes displayed on the website at once. You activate the product catalog here, add products and choose what to display in the block with product cards, a specific product category or all the products at once. You can do it here in the content section of the block under Show Products from the catalog. Let's look at the first option, adding goods by using the product cards. By default, there are already 3 different product items in the block. I'll now delete them to show the process from the beginning. I click Add New Item and the new card is created. The principle is simple: one card, one product. For this example, I'll fill out the page for an improvised clothing store. First, I'm going to upload images of the product. You can add one or more here. If you upload several images, you get a gallery, with the second picture shown in the product grid when you hover over the product card. I'll upload 2 photos from the desktop and type t-shirt in the title field, men's cotton t-shirt in the description field, and add more details in the text field. Casual men's t-shirt made of cotton with no print, color white and black. The price of the product or service is $25, for example. Note that you don't have to set the currency here, as it will be added automatically. You can set or change the currency in Site Settings in the Payment Systems tab. The Old Price field is useful when you want a product discount to be easy to notice. For example, this t-shirt was $35 before and now it's $25. Then I'll write 35 here and the old price will be shown as crossed out next to the current price in the product card. Next, you need to choose what happens when you click on the item. There are 3 options. First option, the visitor is taken to a separate product page. In this case, you'll need to create it manually. This can be used if your goods require a detailed and thorough description that better fits on a separate page. Second option, showing a detailed card with additional information about the product. This is a universal solution that works in most cases. Third option, adding the product immediately to the cart. This option will work if there is no need for detailed information about the product. For example, this is often done on the websites of restaurants and cafes. Reading titles like California Roll makes you understand what the product is, and you can add it to the cart without wasting time. The second option is the most commonly used. Clicking on the product opens up a pop-up window with photos, product details, and the Buy Now button. I'll use this one. I filled in the main fields, but there are more here. Clicking on Show More opens up a whole list of options. Here you can add the text that will be displayed on the button under the product photo. I'll set it to Learn More. You can also add a label for the product, like Sale for the items on sale, New for new arrivals, or Discount value to highlight it. I'll type Sale here. You can add up to 3 product options to each card. This can be anything that the user can choose from, such as size, color, material, etc. These options can either affect the final price of the product or leave it unchanged. For example, I'll add the size option and these values for it: XS, S, M, L, XL. This will give the user the opportunity to choose the t-shirt size, but the price won't change regardless of the size. And now I'll add the wrapping option and write these values. Standard free, gift $8 is equal to plus 8. So if a user chooses gift wrapping for a t-shirt, the price will increase by $8. Any option can work this way as long as you keep to the following format. Value is equal to plus the price. Again, we put numbers and figures without a currency sign. If any of the options has to completely change the price of the product, the plus sign is not necessary. For example, if you have 3 variants for the same model of the sofa, 1-seater, 2-seater, and corner, then the cart can initially contain the price of a 1-seater, and when the customer selects another model, the price changes. This can look like this. Single, $690 is equal to $690. Double, $918 is equal to $918. Corner, $980 is equal to $980. In this case, the option doesn't add cost but replaces it completely. Let's go back to the t-shirts. That is all about completing a product card. I'll add a couple more cards in the same style. To save time, you can duplicate cards in some cases, replacing only some of the fields. This is especially handy if you have products that are similar to one another. Here are the cards I've created. In the More section of the Content tab, you can also change the button text in the pop-up. I'll change it to Add to Cart. This text is displayed near the return arrow of the pop-up. I'll write back to Store. Let's click Save and Close and open the preview to look at our results. By clicking on the product card, the pop-up opens. It displays the product details, image, and Add to Cart button. This is the first way to add products to the page. Now let's see how you can connect the product catalog to the block and display items from it on the page. In the same Content tab, I click the product catalog and I'm taken to the catalog control panel. With the catalog, you can organize the sale of hundreds and thousands of products. Here you can add and edit products manually and import from lists and spreadsheets, classify products by categories, and set various filtering options. The accounting system will keep track of what you have in stock and help simplify working with the store. Let me show you the basic features of the catalog. When you first connect catalog, it already contains several test items. I have removed them to show you the process of adding items from scratch. Let's first create 3 categories: t-shirts, jumpers, and home clothes. Next, I'll add the first item, jumper. Many of the fields here are the same as before in the product card blocks, for example, the description and text. You can also upload several images here and specify the current and the old price. The important thing here is the quantity field. This is just for accounting for what you have in stock. If you write 10 here, for example, then the next time someone buys a jumper, the system will subtract 1, leaving 9 items, and so on. Next, you can set up different variants of the same product, such as differing by color, size, material, or any other attribute or option. Under additional options, you can add up to 5 more options in the same way that you do when filling the cards manually. Value is equal to price in figures without a currency sign and a plus sign before the price if it affects the final price. You can select the catalog category to which the product belongs. I'll select the jumper category here. Besides, you can select several categories. For example, a t-shirt may belong to the t-shirt section as well as to the home clothes category. In the characteristics section, you can add the brand, dimensions, and weight to use this data for filtering products on the website. You can also add your own characteristics. The tab section allows displaying additional product information in separate tabs or drop-down cards. You can create multiple tabs using 4 tab types. The Information tab type allows you to enter additional information manually. Also, you can choose text or characteristic tab types to display the information you specified earlier in the corresponding fields as tabs. The Template tab type allows you to turn a description into a template and use it for other products. It's handy when you are selling similar items. You can activate tabs in the block settings under Pop-up. By the way, don't forget to add a name to each tab, it will be displayed on a page as a tab title. The SEO section allows you to set up special tags or meta tags for search engines optimization and social media. Then you can add a link to a separate product page with the product description if required and set a unit of measurement if you sell items by weight or length, for example. At the very bottom, you can show or hide the product if it's temporarily out of stock, for example. Any products can be deleted, duplicated, made visible or invisible both individually and in whole groups. To do this, you can check the product and then modify groups of products. I've added a few items as an example. You can learn more about the features of the product catalog in the Tilda Help Center. The link will be in the description. When you have products in the catalog, you can show them on the page just by selecting the category you want, or all products at once if you don't use categories. For example, I'll select all products. By the way, if you initially filled out the cards manually and now want to work through the catalog, you can copy all the products into the catalog by clicking Copy Products to Catalog from this block. I'll click Save and Close and immediately see all the items I've added to the catalog. There is a toggle between sections at the top. The visitors can switch them without refreshing the page. Using cards together with the catalog is convenient as you can add your products once and show them in different combinations on different pages. In addition, you won't have to republish pages after making changes to the catalog. Everything will be automatically displayed on the website. This is especially useful for large stores where it is more difficult to manually control hundreds and thousands of products. It's up to you to pick the options for adding products. Just remember that you can start working with cards manually and then switch over to the catalog at any time. Now let me show you the settings panel of the block. In the first tab, you can set up the look of the cards, the number of blocks per row, as well as the height and spacing settings. For example, if you use vertical product pictures, it's better to increase height. You can also specify a number of items to be displayed by default, and other cards will only be shown by clicking the Load More button. You can also adjust the display of the block on mobile devices. For example, you can check all the cards to be displayed in one row or show 2 items per row. This will improve usability and the product grid won't be too long if you have a lot of products. In the Buttons tab, you can adjust the look of buttons, both in product cards and pop-ups, text and background colors, border color, size, etc. The Typography tab contains everything about text elements, product names, descriptions, etc. Here you can set up the font size, weight, and margins. The size and look of the pop-up with the product details are set up in the Pop-up tab. For example, the space here is equally distributed between the description and the photos by default. That is, 6 columns are for the photo and 6 columns are for the description. Sometimes the description is very short and you want the images to be somewhat larger. To do this, you can set the first block width to 8 columns and the second block width to 4 columns, for example. If you are using tabs for additional product info, here you can change their look and display them as tabs or drop-down cards. Separately, you can set how the See Also section will work. You can display related products here. For example, if you show products from the T-shirt category in the block, you can show products from the home clothes category in the See Also section. Let's set it to show 4 such products. In the Gallery Style tab, you can adjust the look of the slider with the product images. I would also like to point out that stretch and aspect ratio are really important things that often go unnoticed. If you use different photos, that is, both horizontal and vertical, it's better to upload all of them and see what you get. If you want them all to look the same, you can use the default settings, but if important details get cropped out, choose the second stretch option. Same goes for the aspect ratio. It depends on what photos are used in your project. Thumbnails in the gallery are shown at the bottom by default, under the main photo, but you can often find other examples on the e-commerce websites. Thumbnails may be on the left. This can be set up here as well by choosing the proper option. If you want users to be able to zoom images on click, check this option. You can also zoom images on hover. This can be useful if the user wants to see the details in the photo. I'll also check the loop gallery box here. You can customize the look of the round sale new labels that are displayed next to the items. You can select the text and background colors here. In the Animation tab, you can select how the cards should appear on the page. The last tab is the Filters and Store Categories. You can change the look and configuration of filters and store categories here. For example, if you don't need the filters in the catalog, you can hide them but keep the list of the catalog categories. If you want to use a different block to switch between catalog categories from the menu category, for example, you can hide the default list of filters. Let's click Save and Close, publish the page, and check how it turned out. We have a nice showcase with a product card grid. When we click on a product card, we see a pop-up with product details and images. The images zoom on hover and on click. There is also an Add to Cart button here and the See Also section with the relevant products. Use the product card blocks to quickly organize a convenient and functional showcase for your products. You can also find detailed guides on how to use these blocks in the Tilda Help Center. The link will be in the description. Good luck!